Hello there, right here we got the next mob that can be voted on for the 2021 Minecraft Live mob vote. This is October 16th. The new mob is called Allay, and it goes on to explain that you have to choose one of 3 mobs in order to be added into the game. This is the second one. It says that Allay is a mob with many hobbies. If you give it an item, it will gather more of the same or similar items that they can find and give it back to you. It also loves music and dancing. And if you have no blocks nearby it, that's where it'll drop off the items it collected. They also have a video showing Allay in action.
If you give an Allay an item, it will collect matching ones for you. It also loves music, so if there's a note block nearby, that's where it will drop them.
Now this mob is quite fascinating compared to the glare mob. We can see the mob kind of flies around like a Vex. It's really small, so it should be able to get into pretty much any area. And if you give it an item, then it goes out and finds similar items and drops them off near note blocks. Now the question is, does the player actually have to like right click on it to give it that item? Or can you automate the process by having a dropper give it the item, and when it drops the items that it has collected, do those items accidentally get back into its own inventory? And the usefulness of this mob is probably determined on how big its inventory is as well. Some uses for this mob could be as you're like strip mining. There's often a lot of blocks on the ground and you don't always have time to pick them all up. So the mob could go around and pick up all those stone blocks or ores and automatically drop them off at your storage system that could automatically filter them and store them. And it seems that it's limited to collecting items and not blocks. So it has to be things that are already on the ground. Other uses would be like if you chop down a bunch of trees and all the saplings and apples could then be collected by this little critter and brought back to a storage system. So I say being useful like early game or mid game, because even early game you could like break a whole bunch of kelp and maybe it could go into water and pick up all the items. You could try to implement this into farms where it goes and after the farm produces a bunch of items, it comes in and collects those items. But typically using AI of a mob is laggier than using just like water streams to collect all the items. And he's probably not really fast or able to pick up a lot of items. So it would have to be a fairly small farm for him to work. But I'm thinking it would make farms more simpler depending on how hard it is to get this character and how easy it is to transport him about. It's just so much easier to carry around like hoppers or water with you than it is to try to somehow get this character into a farm and have him work there. Now he is attracted to note blocks, which are pretty cheap to craft, just wood and a redstone piece. So that's why I think it could be early game when you're doing like basic collecting, and it really determines on how far this guy will actually go out searching for these items. Because let's say you give it a chicken egg and there's another chicken but it's pretty far away that dropped an egg, maybe he doesn't even see it that far. But in general there's not that many items that are naturally on the ground. So it's not like this guy is going to go out and collect resources for you. You sort of have to break the different blocks down, then he has to go collect them. Now you could combine this with a mob that does break blocks like withers. The withers would just roam about breaking blocks, and this guy would just be going in and collecting all the blocks that wither broke and bringing them back to your storage. I think it'd be more useful if he just collected pretty much all items in such a range around the player. That way you wouldn't have to give him like a specific item. But he could also be used to sort out items. Maybe he can actually detect different types of enchantments on books, which would give him the ability to actually sort items that we currently really don't have a way to sort. But from what it says, it sounds like he can find similar items. So he'll probably see all enchanted books as being like the same thing. But for endgame, he probably won't be as useful unless you have a farm that is kind of hard to collect the items and they don't come in large amounts. So maybe like in a tree farm where sometimes the saplings don't go directly into the collection system, this guy can go around and pick up ones that escape. But his whole ability to collect items is something that we kind of see in some mods where players can kind of like pull items from really far away, or they have like little machines that will automatically pull items in such a distance away from it. So this is like more of a Minecrafty way of doing this, and I really think that this is a feature that's kind of needed in the game to kind of have players be able to pull items from further away. I was hoping it would be like enchantment or a special item that you'd wear, but as it's a mob, it really depend on how that mob interacts with the world. Does he get like stuck behind stuff? Does his pathfinding have trouble in water? Those sort of things are going to determine how useful this mob is. Let me know in the comments what other uses you think this mob could have. But so far this mob looks like it's going to be the one I'm going to vote on, just due to the wide variety of uses it has in the game. Definitely a big improvement compared to the glare. Where you could find this mob is probably something like a water fairy, as it is blue, so maybe you can find this around like rivers or even in the lush caves. And the glare creature is also kind of like a dark creature, so you could probably find him also in the new caves. We still got one more mob that they're going to announce, so make sure you guys are subscribed as well as have that bell notification turned on, because it will be going over the next mob as well. And if you'd like to learn about all the cool things that we currently know will come out in the future of Minecraft, check out this video here. And if you'd like to see weird things that I came across during my testing streams, check out these videos over here. I would like to thank all you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.